New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Rockin the Love. I am Robyn.
And I'm Gil. And we're happy to be here with you on this Wednesday afternoon.
Hold it. You guys need an introduction.
We
Professional introduction. Do you guys see yourself on screen?
Yes, we do.
You do. Okay, well then, it's Rockin the Love, all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, from the Robyn and Gil Animal Shelter, it is Rockin the Love.
All right. There
Thank
we
you.
go. We are happening. And as you can see, there is an animal in the background over there. I'm looking at him laying there
he
resting gingerly on the couch. So anyway, welcome. We're so glad you're here today. Wherever you're joining us from, bienvenidos. Welcome. We are Robyn and Gil, as we said before we got a surprise announcement. And today we are talking about Shake, Rattle, and Roll. This is our 2025 year in review. And just getting ready for the 2026. Can you believe it?
No, we cannot. 2026. Who ever thought they'd live to see 2026? Not me.
Yeah, so that's what we're here for today. We're going to just shake things up and rattle them loose and figure out what no longer serves us, what we can let go of, and roll forward into this new adventure and brand new year. And we'll just see as we look back what carried us through the new year, the lessons and the love, and celebrate our resilience and joy and all of the things that have made it all possible. And so that's what this episode is about. It's about honoring the past and stepping boldly into the future, grounded in gratitude and, of course, fueled by love, and ready to dance with possibility. That's what we're doing. Whew. Gosh, that made me a little tired. But it's true. So, how are you?
Well, I'm not nearly as good as I'd like to be. In fact, I'm sitting over here trying not to cough. However, I'm really good in many ways and really excited about what's happening. I just know that my body is working through something.
Yes, welcome, Shay. I know you have tried to call, and I have tried to call you back, and somehow, like when I go to answer, it cuts off or something happens, But thank you so much. I know you're out there. I know you've been praying. I know you were worried about us, and we were so excited last week to be here, and you weren't here. And but just know that you are missed as well when you're not here. So anyway, thank you. And thank you to everyone for your thoughts and your prayers and holding him in that space of health and wholeness and all that good stuff. So amidst that, it's been that kind of a week for me where, of course, I'm not only caretaking, but micromanaging, everything else that's going on. But I'm good. I'm just, as I said to Gil, I'm just tired, and it's a different tired than like, oh, I'm tired, I'll take a nap and then I'm ready to go. It's that kind of weary, tired in your bones kind of tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
kind of like when you just feel like you got too much has happened, too much is going on. You need to rest.
yeah, and like our chiropractor was saying to us, no, you two need to. It doesn't matter if you take a vacation or if you leave your phone outside the bathroom and take a bubble bath and read a book or whatever it is that one does when they're disengaging and rejuvenating and letting go of the world. But yeah, it's it's definitely, I would say that 2025, as long as we're on this topic for the show, I think 2025 has been a year of really establishing boundaries and taking a different bird's eye view of things, kind of like witnessing our lives as well as just participating and creating them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and learning, realizing how much we are blessed all the time, seeing all the movement, and also dealing with that need to let go of control. All at the same time, knowing that it all happens without me, believe it or not.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that each one of us isn't important and we don't do our part, but my father's old joke was, if you ever feel too important, get yourself a bucket of water, stick your fist in it, and then pull it out and look at the hole you left. And that's kind of when you realize that there's a lot around you that fills in for maybe what you thought it was imperative for you to do. And part of what's imperative is just to hold the space so people can do that. So that's what I'm playing with and toying with in my life right now. Yeah.
So how about you, Shay? Let us know what you're doing, what you're thinking about the year in review, the new year. Let everybody, join us in the chat and let's talk about it. But before we do that, it's time for the good news.
For the good news.
Yay, good news. This is our segment where we talk about what's good in the world, because as you all know, we can find plenty of what's wrong or what's not working. So we like to highlight what's going on good, because there's a whole lot of good things happening. A whole lot of good things, good people, good ideas. There's a force of good out there working that is supporting us all. So what do you got?
Well, I am going to share with you, who has not ever sat down and talked to their grandma or somebody else's grandma and thought, okay, this is just nice. Well, there's a guy in New York, had a friend, and she was in a particular spot and was feeling upset, and he said, why don't you call my grandma? Which I'm sure was kind of a weird statement, but she called his grandma and they talked, and they ended up striking up quite a friendship, and that lasted for quite a while, over years. And kind of what came of it was this idea of the grandma stand. And so his grandma lived in Washington, but he was in New York, and so he literally set up a lemonade type looking stand, and he put an old laptop at it with her on Zoom or whatever she was on the screen, and people could sit down and talk to her. And she did that till she was 102.
Those are great.
And just shared with people, and always had different people to talk to hundreds of people. And people would sit down and talk about, couples about dealing with fertility, and people sit down talking about, they just weren't sure what to do with their life and whatever. and she would just listen mostly, and just try to give them some kind of reassurance and etc. Well, this is expanded, and other people have taken it on, and now there's one in Texas that's it's grandma'd on a regular basis in person, and they do the same basic thing. They take shifts, and somebody stops by, they have a chat, and they just offer an ear and any advice they might have from the years and years of living that they've already done. And so it makes the grandmas feel useful and good, and it makes the people feel listened to. And my gosh, what a simple but good news subject. There you go.
It is simple, and it probably kept her alive until she was 102.
Yeah.
Because she was serving a purpose and,
Yeah,
giving back.
She had a job every day.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, so my story was about a trucker who actually completed his 5 million miles of driving. And he did this accident-free and over 34 years.
Wow.
And it's equivalent to 200 trips around the earth. Isn't that crazy? Driving your truck 200 times around the earth. Anyway, he was awarded the 2025 Road Warrior Champion, and he received a custom-built semi-truck and $50,000, which is the largest prize ever in that contest's history. And I think his story really it highlights the often unseen labor of truck drivers who deliver food and medicine and fuel and all the goods, and Amazon, all the goods that sustain our daily life and keep us all going. And so I just thought it was interesting. And his credits, he was a Marine Corps. He was in the Marine Corps, and he credits his training for patience and responsibility and all those habits that shaped his career and his safety record. And he, beyond driving a truck, he also mentors younger truckers, offering guidance and just teaching them how to maneuver this isolating profession. So he was awarded the award, and it was given to him and his family and his friends, and he didn't want it in, usually they have a big ceremony. He didn't want it in a big ceremony. He had it at like the one of the truck stops along the way in Texas, where his family and friends could all be there. And so it just, to me, it just highlighted the thing that trucking isn't just a job, like a lot of us think of it as like, oh, that's a job. And so for him, though, it was like really a vocation that was rooted in purpose and passion and responsibility and belonging. And so I just thought I can only imagine in those 5 million miles, how many lives he affected, and not only by all the delivery stuff he made, but just by people he met along the way with that kind of dedication and compassion. And I think it's pretty impressive to find all of that with accident free.
Yeah, I think I generally round about 20,000 miles accident free.
When you drove a bus or now?
Well, anytime. I don't know if you average it out. No, it would be more than that. But it's not easy to be accident free, because accident free is not only about not making a mistake yourself, it's about avoiding the mistakes of others.
Exactly. And they talk about this in this article. I mean, he talks about driving offensively and defensively and all of that. Yeah. So absolutely. And this story, like, it's not normally my kind of story, but I mean, like our producer was surprised that I picked this one. I would just say, I feel like at this time of year, especially, it's about honoring this invisible labor that's so pertinent during the holiday season, when we're all relying on this unseen thing, whether it's for gifts or food or people getting to places they're supposed to be, gatherings, whatever it's about, all of the workers that are like, his name is Stacy Batiste, all of the workers that exemplify these things and show up and do these jobs are what make our lives easier as well. So I just wanted to honor that and put that out there.
That's great. I think it's interesting how often people don't realize that setting the intention, having the attitude about whatever it is they're doing is what makes the difference between something that's a job and something that becomes valuable and fulfilling. And that's why we're always looking for the thing that we really relate to, because then we jump in. It's important to us.
Yeah.
Right. And being able to see the importance and the gift in whatever it is that we do as a vocation is pretty powerful. And then to do it really well is another step beyond that.
Yep. Absolutely. And then to get a new semi truck and a $50,000 bonus is even better.
Well, after that many miles, I'm thinking I'm actually selling the semi truck because hopefully he doesn't have to keep driving. Goodness gracious.
All right. So that's our good news for the week. When we come back, I can see in the chat that Shay has kicked us off with her 2025 retrospective. We will start with that as we look at last year and the past and where we're going in the future. So today it's all about shake, rattle, and roll. We're going to shake some off and rattle it in. And we're ready to roll with it. So stay tuned and come back right after the break and roll with us right here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we are back. You are joining us right here, right now, in this moment on Rockin the Love, right here on New Thought Media Network. I am Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we are pleased to share each Friday afternoon with you. And because of the holidays, etc., happening, this is our last live segment of 25. Isn't that wild?
It is wild. It is wild. I mean, it's so interesting how fast a year goes and how much happens, and the moments when we think it's going slow and the moments when we think it's speeding up. And why does it speed up, like after summer, like September, October, November, December, they may as well be 1 month. It's true. It's like zoom, you just get taken through it, and so much happened this year. So we're gonna look back on the year a little bit and then talk about it. So there were a lot of things happening this year, and when I looked at the list of things of the year, I was like, oh my God, that was this year, because some of it seems so far away. But there were a number of firsts in the headlines. There were Japan and Namibia, inaugurated their first women heads of government. And on the space front, there was the first successful landing of a commercial lunar landing that touched down near Mare Crisium on the moon. And in religion, history was made as Sarah Mully was first appointed by Archbishop of Canterbury and became the first American Pope. And Leo became the first American Pope. Leo the 14th? I think it's the 14th. And there's just a ton of things that have happened in pop culture. Taylor Swift became engaged to Travis Kelce, and Beyonce finally won the Grammy for her Best Album of the Year. Well deserved. And then deaths, of course, of numerous people, from Pope Francis, Robert Redford, Jane Goodall, and of course, most recently, to beloved Rob Reiner. May they all rest in power. So there's just so much, and that's just skimming the subject, obviously. But let's just talk about January. So to kick off the year, that's when the fire started in LA. And continued for basically the first month. One of the costliest disasters to ever strike the United States, with that cost of like 76 to 131 billion dollars, and many people killed. And then January 20th, Donald Trump was inaugurated as president in the United States. And so starting from there and just moving forward, there's just so much that happened. Do you even remember back to January?
No, that's beyond my abilities. I think one of the big things that happened after that was nighttime posting seemed to increase a lot after January 20th. Most of it unreadable. We've been going through a lot of turmoil, and a lot of people being angry, a lot of people being frustrated and upset, and somehow in the midst of all of that, there's been so much positive happening as well.
That's true. So I want to start off with Shay, because Shay is emphasizing the positive. And she says, I just did my 2025 collage, and I didn't know it, but apparently I just slayed 2025. I'm shocked and so proud of myself. Who knew? Well, we probably knew, Shay, because we know who you really are.
And she's not done yet.
And she's not done yet. So, and that is a great model for all of us, right? I mean, but we know from having Shay on our show that she has so much to give and so much to offer and shares that, willingly. So that's great.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's part of what, all this, the good I've seen is people stepping up into sharing their gifts and being willing to be engaged in the world over this year, with the marches and the various other things that have happened. People have stepped up and said, okay, I'm there. I think it's very powerful.
Yeah, it just came into my mind that the movie, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Network? Was that from Network?
Yeah, Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people have definitely found their voice, and I think that's true individually. I mean, I see that happening amongst our clients, our friends, our congregants, the people are finding their voice in a new way. So, and I think that's probably a direct reflection of all that's going on, and some of that late night posting and all of the things that people are going, this doesn't work, or this isn't right, and I'm not gonna that's not gonna be my story.
I'm gonna say this is not my story, this is not my truth, this is not the truth of my world. And that is a strong place to be, and sometimes a challenging place to get to.
Yes, it is. So I was going to ask you a question, but I think I'll just add a little bit more as we go along so that we get through the year. So February.
Wait, it was your birthday.
That's right.
Okay, got it. It was your birthday.
It was my birthday, and Beyonce won 3 Grammys, which was including her first ever Album of the Year award. And she also made history as the first Black woman to win a Grammy for a country album. So I thought that was super cool.
Wow.
I think it kind of just encapsulates a lot of all her work, that, I mean, you give her that for the first of that, but she's been first in many categories. And so I thought that was super cool. What else happened in February? Well, that was a Super Bowl month, and the Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which was an amazing feat. Let's see, what else? What else happened? Besides my birthday, probably nothing. Let's go to your birthday month. So March, there we were, March. Well, there was the soft landing on the moon that I talked about. And there was also a lot of movement, political firsts kind of thing, like Mark Carney of the Liberal Party was sworn in as Prime Minister of Canada. And he was one of the first non-British people ever to head the Bank of England. And so, you kind of see a shift in things, like, people starting to do things that hadn't been done before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In spite of an attempt to make it non-popular and even non-acceptable.
Yeah. And then there were the American astronauts, Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore. They were in space for 286 days, even though they were only scheduled to stay for about a week. And
wow, there's a vacation extension you weren't planning on.
Yeah, and so that was pretty monumental. And then there was magnitude earthquake in Burma. That was a 7.7 earthquake and caused more than 3,600 deaths and injuries.
Mm.
Sorry, I was just blessing people on their journey. Then going to April, spring. our wedding anniversary month. I hope you're all jotting this down on your calendars. The important dates to remember. Anyway, Pope Francis died, along with Ozzy Osbourne, Giorgio Armani, Robert Redford, Jane Goodall. Not all in April, but this is just part of the year. Diane Keaton, and as I said, of course, Rob Reiner and his wife. So, going back to you. So, what would you say is your accomplishment for your biggest or your best or your most memorable accomplishment for 2025?
I think learning to stand more in my power.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's really. I mean, I've had to do it on a couple of occasions, and I've been able to choose to do it on others, and not in an overbearing way, not in a I am all powerful way, but just in trusting who I am and what I'm called to do and why I'm here.
That is a good one. That is a good one. And so it really begs the question to our listeners, and, like, how do we keep, okay, watch me stay focused while he's doing that. How do we stay in a place of having that inquiry all the time? Really knowing, and I think it's a real special technique, not skill, I should say, to be able to watch and witness and grow into some of the things like that Gil has said. So how do we do that as we go into the new year? We look at the past, and like Shay said, she's got it. She's claiming it as all good. She slayed the year, And if we dug deeper into that, like, I'm sure there's places where we might have been able to do it differently. So how do we learn from our mistakes, not buy into them, not make them a thing, and continue forward, continue on that journey of knowing and learning?
For me, I think that's a shift in. Really, it's a shift in confidence, which seems weird, but it is, because, and maybe it's just how I'm defining it, but being okay with who I am. So being okay with who I am means that I can make mistakes, I can evaluate them, I can acknowledge them as mistakes, and I can move forward. And I can see where things have gone well, and I can acknowledge those and move forward. Versus feeling like I have to always, feeling as though I'm always not really quite caught up, so I have to show that how much I'm caught up with the rest of the world, if you will. Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I think you're speaking to, on some level, like the importance or the art of being where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Oh, I got so...
See, truckers, we got them happening again.
I got so excited by seeing Wayne Baldwin. Welcome, Wayne. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Talking about the year in motion, what's gone on in 2025. But yeah, I think what you're saying is just, there's a I go back to the 4 agreements. It's that importance of being where you are and being okay with that, and not taking it personally, not looking back and saying, oh, I should have, or why didn't I do it like this, or I got to do this, but really being able to be okay where you are.
Well, what it makes me think of is we were just having this discussion yesterday about, about recognizing people and giving them some kind of recognition, like an award or something, and how easy it is to slide down the slope of it being a competition, and because someone else got an award, it means I didn't. And because someone else got the award, they must be better than me. No, we're recognizing their goodness, their gifts. It's not that they're somehow elevated above me necessarily. It means that they have certain gifts and we're recognizing them. I realize in certain work situations and that, yeah, it does get very competitive. But I think there's a lot of places where we create that competition from our own thinking. We think it means something and we think that we forget that the law of circulation says there's plenty all the time.
Right.
There's no lack anywhere. And therefore, you having something cannot mean that I somehow don't have something.
Right. Yeah, that's a big lesson. That's a big lesson to keep in mind, and a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks to just knowing that right where you are, whatever's happening, whatever's going on for you, whatever you've done or haven't done is exactly right. And can you change it? Yes, you can. And moving forward from that space as opposed to getting stuck in the old story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so continuing into May, there was India launched a series of missile strikes on multiple bases in Pakistan, which led to the escalation in exchange from both countries. And then that triggered an attack in which a gunman opened fire on tourists near a resort town, killing 26 people.
Jeez, I didn't realize that.
I know. There's so much. When I read this year in review thing, I'm like, really? That happened? And that's also a good lesson to know that we don't always have to know what is happening as much as we need to just know what's happening.
I think we have to know always compassion and love and holding for the best all the time, because for instance, that whole situation, how we don't even know, we have no idea what all the pain points are of different people and what they're thinking, and none of that kind of stuff. And nobody operates from a vacuum. Everybody's operating from something. It may be very misplaced, but it's still something real to them.
Yeah, very true. So continuing in May, that's when we elected the first American Pope in the history of the Roman Catholic Church. Also, the Food and Drug Administration approved an in-home cervical cancer test. I know, right? June. So now we're to summer. The Air India flight crashed in Ahmedabad, and of the 242 people, passengers and crew, there was one survivor. Yeah. Then June 14th, here's where it gets a little spunky. That's when demonstrations started against Donald Trump, and the No Kings protests were born. They were held all over the United States and other countries, drawing more than 5 million participants. And then again, they did it again in October, obviously. But that is the one of the largest single-day protests in history in the United States.
Yes.
I was waiting.
Is there more?
Well, I was waiting for you to say something.
Oh, okay. Well, then in October, the numbers jumped to somewhere around 7 to 8 million. So, 50% more people jumped on the bandwagon to say, we're willing to stand up and speak for the rights of our fellow people on this journey, and for our own rights, and for the right way for a positive way of interacting in our world. And I think it's really significant that that's true of people in other countries asking. I mean, in some ways, I can only imagine that in some cases, so people asking the United States to not lose their way. You know, we need you.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm gonna keep going because I don't want to get stuck thinking about things. So, in June 25th, actually, the Axiom mission, the fourth commercial human spaceflight mission undertaken by Axiom Space, was launched. And the mission involved all kinds of international collaboration. And I think this is so interesting. So if someone from the US, someone from India, someone from Europe and Poland and Hungary. And I just think, it makes me think back to when I was a kid. Like, you always knew what was going on with space and space shuttles. Now they take off all the time. And I don't have any idea. I mean, granted, I don't watch the news, but generally I hear the highlights, but it's not as predominant or talked about. Do you think it is?
No, not in the same way. No, I think there's a different attunement to it now. And, like everything in terms of news, people respond to the sensational, and a spacecraft going into space is no longer sensational.
Right.
It's just a fact. You don't hear a lot of reports about all the new cars from Chevrolet either, because that's just something that happens.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, they seem a little different, but I hear you.
Yeah, well, I know it's not a perfect comparison. I made it up fast.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes when I'm fast, I'm not as good.
Amen to that. Okay. So moving on. In July, there was the Camp Mystic flash flood, which took place in Texas, and surrounding areas got all the way down by us, right? I mean,
I don't know where. I honestly, but it traveled a long way, and it was a huge event in that area of Texas, and it wasn't the first time it would. In fact, they were 10 years away from the last major event, and they still hadn't implemented the new safety things that they determined they needed to implement in order to be ready for another flood. And they got hit with another flood, and this time it took out major portions of the camp, which was in the flood zone, including the kids, etc., who were in the camp.
right. Well, and it said the flooding started on the 4th of July, and within hours it increased to the height of the Guadalupe River, over 37 feet before the water started to recede. That's pretty tall.
Yeah, and I'm imagining it's normally 6 to 8 feet deep, and so you figure 30 feet straight up, how far is that going up on an angle? How far back is that going to go? It's going to widen out very far and hit a lot of things.
Yeah. Yes. So July saw the U.S. Agency for International Development is shuttered, excuse me, after being targeted by U.S. President Donald Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency, which worked in more than 100 countries to promote global economic prosperity, advance food security, strengthen democracy, and provide humanitarian assistance, among other efforts. So we saw that bit of whatever happened. Then also the K-pop band BTS reunited after they completed their military service, which ended their 3-year hiatus. There was a comet discovered. There was the asteroid terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, a telescope funded by National Aeronautics and Space Administration, discovered comet, an interstellar object that is possibly the oldest known comet. See, again, that's more space stuff that you don't just hear anymore. That seems kind of important.
The oldest known comet. Okay. Well, I think it's amazing to me that we're able to recognize, pick out, and see these things. I mean, I realize we have these telescopes that are incredibly powerful in terms of magnification, etc. But to still be able to see something out there and determine what it is and where it's going. I zoom my camera out and I can't find the moon with it anymore. So I can't hold it still enough to find anything. So it's kind of that amazes me that we can look at that and go, oh, this is not one we've seen before, and that's because it has an elephant's tail on it. We've never seen that before, or whatever the heck it is that they're seeing, and determine it and have some idea how old it is based on what they're seeing. Gracious.
Gracious.
It's a lot.
I don't know. I'm only to July and we're almost done with the show.
I know. You're lagging.
I know. Maybe we got to do the rest of record another one for next week. Anyway, so July. I just want to put this one in there that the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama, the exiled spiritual leader of Tibet, announced that he will reincarnate, thus confirming that there will be a 15th Dalai Lama.
Oh, I did not know that.
He also granted his institutional trust sole authority for identifying his successor.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know that either. So that's pretty fascinating.
So he's preparing to transfer out and come back. I don't know. I mean, I whatever in terms of believing in reincarnation, etc. But gosh, that doesn't even have a vacation in there before he comes back. He's got boom, he's back. It's like, geez, isn't this place fun enough without doing it immediately over multiple times? This would be technically the 15th time, I'm guessing, based on that description. Woo! That's some determination.
That's a show in and of itself. I mean, that's just an incredible. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
And an incredible legacy, an incredible possibility, and all of that. July was also the month that at that Coldplay concert, in Massachusetts, that they caught the couple kissing and that later resigned from their job. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the couple that wasn't married. Well, no, they were married. Well, wait, how did it go? They were married, but not to each other. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. And the singer had said from the stage, either they're having an affair or they're just very, very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they dove behind other people when the camera came on.
Yeah. God. Yeah. So that is definitely an interesting thing. So I'm going to stop at July for now. And let's just wrap it up. So because our intention was to really, shake off some of the old stuff that you've heard about that brings up a thought or a vision in your mind that you don't want to hang on to, and that goes true for all of your, when you do your year-end review, if you're not as lucky as Shay to look back and like everything that you've seen, I know you didn't say that, look back and be able to surmise the great success amidst whatever has gone on. Just really thinking, just how do you shake it off and let it go and really be able to emerge anew, So do you have any words of wisdom on that?
No. No, I got no words of wisdom. None.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So, yeah, I don't in this moment.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's all right.
I'm having trouble being present.
Okay. So anyway, so looking at that, and just saying, how do we shake it off? How do we move forward and really be able to roll into the new year with an amazing sense of knowing that whatever you've done has been the exact right thing to do, and to really just honor yourself, be kind to yourself, don't get stuck in the things you don't like. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I'd say.
Well, I would, say don't get stuck in, I have to do it better, but more move to, my intention is to do my best. To really be willing to look at myself, be willing to stretch myself. For instance, Shay talks about, listening to Spirit's direction even when she didn't want to. That's not something we always are accomplished, but if our intention is to do that, it sets it up that we can move toward our best in those areas. And I think, the less we set up a competition with ourselves and the more we set up just striving to really bring forth who we're supposed to be, the better off we'll be.
Yeah, and I think, thank you for saying that. And I think that, thank you, Shay, for being such a beautiful example of like just a commitment to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just encourage everybody to, take a look at the year and look at your wins, like go in looking for your wins, not what you didn't accomplish, and reevaluate as well. Maybe if you didn't accomplish it, there's a reason. Maybe it's not something you need to accomplish. Maybe it's leading you to something else. Yeah. And so I just want to thank you for joining us on our year in review episode of Rockin the Love. And as we shake off the old, and we just invite you to join us in rattling awake our dreams, your dreams, and rolling into 2026. And may we carry gratitude as our rhythm and love as our compass. So here's to new beginnings and bold adventures and the joy of walking this path together. And healing, health and healing, calling that forth. So until next time, just keep rocking the love and keep rolling forward with courage and kindness and lots of heart.
And know that 2026 is happening soon. So buckle up. Let's go.
Let's go. Rock the love, everybody.